Kindlin's law says, if you can't define a problem, you can't solve it. And honestly, many of us are walking around with problems we haven't even named yet. Not because we're lazy or careless, but simply because we're human. And humans are exceptional at pretending they're okay, even when they're not. They say things like, I'm fine, even when it's the furthest thing from the truth. So for me personally, somewhere between emotional combustion and teenage chaos, I came up with something that helps me process what I'm feeling. My emergency triage. A little ritual, a trifecta of some sorts. PCM. Pillow, ceiling, mirror. Now I know this sounds like IKEA's new furniture line or a subject combination, but trust me, this is what got me going through the hard days. The pillow, soft, quiet, and the best hugger I know. It's where I break down when the world expects me to keep it all together. It cradles my chaos. It makes me feel so safe, it absorbs my tears, it listens without a word that I spill everything there. And then comes the ceiling, this vast empty canvas above me. It becomes my planning board. So when things get complicated and all my thoughts are all over the place, I look up to it, quite literally. And then comes the mirror, my brutally honest best friend. She doesn't lie, she doesn't sugarcoat, but when she looks at my I'm fine face, she goes, girl, really? And that's when I know it's time to stop pretending and face what I'm actually feeling. Now, I know this sounds really cringe and like a quirky little routine, but this is where I sit with my feelings, untangle them, and give them names. I remember one night before an exam feeling completely overwhelmed. It wasn't just the syllabus, I mean, that was the major chunk of it, but it was also my horrible time management skills, my expectations, parents, friendship, teachers, school, pressure, everything piling up over the other. Then again, PCM came into clutch. I cried onto my pillow until my chest felt lighter. I stared onto the ceiling until the fog in my brain started to clear. And finally, when I looked into the mirror, I admitted it. I wasn't just stressed, I was scared. And that may have made a little, or maybe a lot of a difference. Because by the time I spoke to the people who knew me best, my MVPs, my parents, I wasn't just mumbling, oh my God, it's everything and it's all over the place. Instead, I was saying, this and this is the problem and I need help solving it. Now, it wasn't just the exam days or the hard days, Sometimes, as I said earlier, it was with the people who knew me best, the ones who loved me most, my parents. There were so many instances where I felt like they didn't get what I was trying to tell them, where I didn't get what they were trying to tell me. We've had our fair share of misunderstanding and fights. But then again, PCM came into clutch. I cried onto my pillow. I replayed everything that happened on the ceiling. And finally, when I looked into the mirror, I realized fights with the people you love most are common. And that sometimes anger can cloud disappointment. And when you name that disappointment, miracles can happen. So in my case, when I was able to name the disappointment, I was able to understand their perspective. I was able to talk to them, not shout at them. I was able to solve the problem. And in the end, we even grew closer together. So this is when I realized PCM wasn't just saving me from my hard days, but even my relationships. Another thing that I often don't say out loud a lot is that PCM isn't something that I came up with on my own. I believe it's something God showed me as a way of protecting me, grounding me, keeping me sane. Again, sounds really cringe, but when I hug the pillow, it's like I'm hugging Him. When I stare onto the ceiling, it's like I'm planning it out with Him. And finally, when I look into the mirror, it's not me staring back at myself, but it's God giving me a reality check. And in all fairness, it's like I do not go through my chaos alone because there's always someone with me. So that's when I realized these objects, here's the thing, they aren't just things. They're storytellers. They carry stories of our breakthroughs, our breakdowns, our tiny victories. And I'm sure each and every one of us has objects like that. Maybe for you, it's a stuffed animal that you sleep with. Or maybe it's a cup of coffee. Or maybe it's a notebook, a playlist, or that one park bench where you can feel the breeze. Whatever it is, anything that helps you stop, sort, and name what you're feeling, because the minute you say, this hurts and I don't know why, you've already taken the first step towards healing. And that's what they do in the hospital as well, at Triage. They do not go and try to solve all these emergency cases at the same time. Instead, they go, they see, they analyze, they prioritize, and they see what needs healing first. And an emotional triage is no different. So if there's anything that you take away from my talk today, let it be this. Create your own PCM. Objects, rituals, lifelines that help you pause, breathe, and face what you're feeling honestly. Because in a world where so many of us say, I'm fine, while breaking on the inside, learning to name what you're feeling isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of courage. It's the first stitch in healing your wound, and finally, it's the difference between carrying your chaos and finally setting it down. Thank you.